And it almost cost you your life. What happened?
I mean, it was 2004, 2008, 2012. My dream was to become an Olympian. It's never going to come true. So I woke up one morning and said I want to die. I mean,
really?
And I was going to kill myself. Yeah. I'm not supposed to be here, bro. That's what I say. I operate from a different space. I'm cut from a different cloth than all of this goofiness. Like, I'm not supposed to be here, literally.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be dead, so I'm on borrowed time. I was spared.
I'm so excited to get a chance to sit down with this man. We talked earlier in the week, and your passion, your drive. If you can, I don't know if you've caught. We just started, and man, talk to him. Tell them who you are and tell them what you do.
Again, I'll keep it quick. Tyrone Ross. I am a financial consultant, founder of 401, which is a financial consulting storytelling firm. One core competency, storytelling, point blank period. And as an advisor, I do work with clients and have a specialty in crypto assets and early stage startup advising, if that still matters.
Well, I think it does. Right? So your business has got to start from somewhere, right?
Yeah,
At some point in time, and some drive. Then, how'd you get into the business?
As a 26-year-old who didn't know what the stock market was, walked right past the New York Stock Exchange, didn't know what it was. I had a graduate professor who was like, "Have you thought about working on Wall Street?" And I'm like, "I don't even know, like, what is, like, what? No, like, what is Wall Street?" So being on I didn't even know what that meant, to be on your own and be like, to me, it was just like, I needed to be myself. I had gone through the reason I left Merrill, I had a horrible racist experience with a branch manager, and I'd had enough. By that time, I was in the industry, I don't know, was it 8-9 years or whatever, maybe a little more. Right? No, 10 years. And I just had enough. I'm like, I get it. Y'all don't want me here. So my whole point is, until we get to the point where we start to realize as financial advisors, the industry is not set up for us to succeed in the traditional realm. I knew that. We can't generalize, we have to specialize. You can't be at a wirehouse to succeed because you're not going to get that trickle down of when advisors leave and this, that, or whatever, and it's so hard to get through the training programs without experience. The only reason I got out is because there were people fortunate enough and looked at me, and I was fortunate enough to benefit from them helping me. I wouldn't have made it. They write down a list of people with $250,000. What? I was like, I failed the personality test. They were like, you completely blew it, right? But, and I told them flat out, I never forget it. The complex manager came in the room and he was reading the results and you failed this, and we look at this, we don't have the people that, you didn't fill out the list of people with $250,000. I said, I can tell you one thing. I said, you hire me, I'm going to outwork whoever you hired yesterday and whoever you going to hire after me. I could promise you that. I got the job. And I went all in. And I locked myself in a room every day and I cold called like my hair was on fire. I just realized I wasn't going to be the billion-dollar wirehouse advisor. That just wasn't going to be me. So I had to go independent and
here's a question though, Tyrone. Do you want that? Do you want to be that billion-dollar RIA?
No. I did. Again, we get sold the dream. You get sold the dream. They sell our people a dream. Buy a house, have a car. That's cool. I'm with that. But let's go another way.
So how are you changing that right now? What are the things that you're doing? Talk about your passion and the push that you are doing right now to help, one, bring more advisors to the business or bring more people of color to the business, and reaching out to the kids in the communities.
So I think the most important thing, and I think it aligns well, you as a CFP, and we spoke about this recently, is I am working with Keith Beverly and a few other folks to make sure we get 20 CFPs, right, black CFPs across the board in 2020. I'm not a CFP, have no desire to become one, but I need to be a part of that, right? So I feel like I want to play a role in that coming to be. And that's really that's the main thing. Because I'm screaming, I'm done screaming and asking, man, and being the token black guy on a panel, and I'm just exhausted. It's clear that we're not wanted here, but let's address it, and then let's push forward and make sure that those of us that have platforms that the door's been cracked for us, to kick it open and say, there's more Tyrones, there's more Bills, there's more Lizettas, there's more Renees.
Yep.
And then once we have numbers, we lock arms. Then we can start to progress on some of these things about now tying into the fact that, almost 90%, right, of little black boys in this country cannot read.
Yep.
That is a crisis. So the more black CFPs there are, we can have a united front to go into schools and show these boys 10 to 15 to 20 to however many black men.
Yep.
If they see it, they can be it.
Yeah.
But we have an obligation to do that, to make sure that we lock arms, that we unify to do that
and
together.
We're working in that process together.
100%.
We're pushing together, right?
100%.
Showing young children that this is a career path, this is an option for them, creating that world for them.
Absolutely.
Right?
They just don't know. I didn't know. I was 26 years old.
When you're introduced to this, right?
I didn't know what a stock was, a bond was, a CD, a money market. I didn't know what any of that was. I grew up in a financially illiterate home. We were unbanked. Like, I did not know what that was. I literally got my first checking account when I got to college, and I had to open it, and my parents, I gifted some money. It was $100. And I went back to get the money, and the woman was like, "Oh, nah, you don't know how this works, do you?" That $100 was to open the account. Yeah. Right? You got whatever it was, whatever they took, 70, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. Yeah. Right? Literally illiterate as a friggin', 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old, man. So,
And you went to school as well, and you went through that whole process. Talk about that a little bit. Your schooling. And your first passion, which is part of your walk and talks, and the reason why you're still on the track.
Yeah, probation officer before I took my first job on Wall Street, investment as a probation officer.
Wow.
And the managing director asked me. So I had a caseload of kids that were from, I think my youngest kid was 11.
Wow.
11 to like 16. Like 17, they kind of transferred, but 11 to 17. Like I've actually gone into a prison and seen a 13-year-old cowered in a corner because he was with a bunch of older kids and they committed murder. Wow. I've seen this with my eyes. So now, again, that experience, right?
That changes
bringing it to this is why people are like, well, Tyrone, when you've seen what I've seen, you felt what I've felt. I don't want to talk about backdoor Roth RIAs or whatever. I don't want to talk about that.
That's not where your conversation goes.
No.
You've built your business completely on your own with this new space, and your passion comes through. Why Bitcoin? Why cryptocurrency? Why startup? Why start a business?
People don't ask me that, and I think the reason why I'm so passionate about crypto, besides the fact that it's going to decimate our business, literally going to put a lot of financial advisors out of business. It's a whole other story. Because of what it means for the unbanked. Because of what it means for the unbanked. Like this is how they've been banking themselves their whole lives. I don't know what they call it in Haiti, but I know Haitians have it, Jamaicans have it, Guyanese have it, Spanish have it. A susu is the first blockchain. Everybody, there's 4 of us here, right? The two people can't see.
In Haiti, they call it an ESO.
Yeah.
ESO.
Yeah. Now, if you right, exactly. And if you look at the history of that, right, the susu, it goes back to the 16th century and slaves. Everybody puts in a hand, no credit check, no nothing. I know you need the rent due. I need my car payment, this, that, whatever. I'm trusting you gonna put your 100 in. I'm gonna put my 100 in. They're gonna put their 100 in. So now this pot is $400. Everybody gets a turn
with that pot.
Right, with that pot, and you got to put back. Like that's the first blockchain, trustless, no credit check, self-sovereign, all that other stuff. Right. So for me, it's what it can possibly do to liberate people. Whatever the number changes by the day, but the 12 or 15% of people in this country that are unbanked. And when unbanked means there's also people who don't have identity. I don't have identity. I don't have a bank account. How do I transact? Cash. So now I have cash. What does cash mean? If I'm now using cash, there's a point where I'm using cash to live my life. So everything is from this hand to this hand. Food to eat, rent to pay, keep car on, go to the dentist, go to the doctor, kids need this. There's never a point in the middle where there's enough, $1 to say, I got discretionary income, I could put that dollar into the S&P 500. I'm okay with the haves and the have-mores. The haves and the have-nots is a problem.
Right.
People are always going to have more. Have 100 billion, Mr. Bezos.
Yeah.
But every kid should get to eat.
Yeah.
Every person should be comfortable having a roof over their head. The light should never go off.
Yeah.
I should have running clean water.
Yep.
Basics in this country.
Yeah.
Right? When you go and see how people are living in Detroit, I've seen this with my eyes, and I've seen some squalor in my day. I've seen poverty in my day. But when I drove into Detroit for the first time, and I saw how people were living, I said, in this country, we should be ashamed. And in those of us to deal with your $250,000 minimum and this, that, whatever, and I need extra, we are completely selling our services, one, to people who don't need it, but will pay us a premium to make them richer. Come on, man, what are we talking about? And I'm all right with that, but it's nothing. Why can't we bundle our, you take a percentage of your fees and then it go towards a financial literacy thing? Or you take a percentage of your fees and you go support that school that you purposely didn't put your kids in. You sent them to private school, good for you. But go support those same kids, you know why? Those kids that didn't go to your kid's school, they're gonna meet up at some point.
Right.
I said, and yes, I love working with people. I'm passionate about crypto. I do think it's a viable asset class. The early stage startup stuff is, again, I just feel like financial advisors can add a lot of value there. And there's a lot of symmetry between startups and financial advisors, right? Our clients are our VCs, right? Like, we have to show results, we go back to them and raise money. Like, there's a lot of things there, right? You have a book of business, you run a practice, like all of that. I'm fascinated with all of that. And I think there are tremendous, powerful, successful, thoughtful people in our industry. I love what I do, and I don't want to make it seem like we're all bad or the whole industry, but it's like we can just do so much more if we take the focus off what they want us to keep it on.
See, and I see that. I think that, I don't think that it's seeing that our industry is bad, because financial planning, financial services obviously has a trust issue, and it's had that issue for
100%.
years. It's just shining a light on the areas that we are missing. Right, we've talked. You and I, we've talked about getting into the community. We've talked about your practice in the space that it's grown. We've talked about what drives advisors in the first place to get into this business.
I'm cut from a cloth that is rare, and I know I'm cut from a cloth that this industry, when they don't even know where to go source it. Rare, they don't know where to go source my cloth, but I do. And if I go fight for them and I get more of us in here, my God. 10 years from now, I said it, 10, 15 years from now, our industry will be the most beloved in the world because the shift is on.
The shift in particular.
It's just getting people in touch with, again, using all that power and everything that we have. Bro, it's ridiculous what we're looking at right now.
Here's why I need to know this, though, because if you're going to make that push and you're going to make that drive in that environment, in that space, to change a person's life, how does this business, how does this space, being in this room right now, give you the opportunity to do that?
That's why I'm so grateful for it. Every one of these I get to do, I get to talk to that cause. And here's the thing, I can't document it, but I feel like it's the first, based the way that people are responding to me and what I'm being told. What conferences has had a keynote on giving? I'll wait, but I don't. My mentor said it, don't let them pigeonhole you into crypto. Don't let them pigeonhole you into startups. There's so much more that you bring to the table. Leverage that, and I was able to leverage that on Twitter, right? It was like, well, who's this guy talking about crypto? And it makes sense,
and those are your walk and talks, right?
Yeah, the walk and talks, all of that. But none of this was, all I'm trying to do is operate from a space of just being honest and real. I don't script nothing, but I need more Navy SEALs. I need people with me to jump over the wall and say, no matter what bullet comes,
I'm ready to take it.
Come on, these kids are worth it. Humanity is worth it. I passed a man walking to come to this hotel last night, huddled over, life exhausted him. He's sleeping on the street with all of his belongings. Come on, we could do better, man. We could do better. That's a human. Because there's one thing you don't be in this country, which is poor. Poor is a condition, not a color. So when I stare at these poor white kids, who nobody advocates for, by the way, I can speak to them because I can speak to their condition. Their skin hasn't afforded them the privilege yet. Why? Because they're poor. And there's one thing you don't want to be in this country, and that's poor. Is poor. Got me sweating, man.
Well, I mean, I just got you started. I mean, the rest of that's for you. This is what we needed. We needed to hear your passion. We needed to hear that drive. Why? Because if the story doesn't get out, nothing changes, right? We've talked about how we grow. We've talked about why we grow. Talk about the mistakes that you've made, the failures. Where did things go wrong, and how did you get back on track, personally and professionally?
I mean, I think personally and professionally kind of go together, but the failures personally have just, we talked about this earlier. It's just, my dream is never going to come true. The one thing I worked hardest at in life, I failed at, and it's never going to happen. And that sucks. Professionally, I just think that I let this industry dictate to me too long. I'm also a person where I'm big on your word is your bond. Yeah. And I'm big on loyalty. And there's not a lot of that, and I realize the power of actually having a contract with language and all that other stuff. And I do think the other thing is I've underappreciated my value far too long. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people do that. And this has nothing to do with color or race or any of that. Is that when you find out what you're worth truly? Yeah. Wow. Wow. It's a powerful thing.
It changes your perspective.
Yeah,
it gives you a broader view of life, and it gives you a stronger passion, I think, right? Yeah. When you find that path, that thing that really, really drives you. For me, it's my kids. It's their future. It's my family, giving them that space to be able to do better and be better than the person that I am today. Right. But I still have to start with me, and I have to make sure that I'm in the right place, and I've got the right mindset, and I've got the right drive, and the right passion, the right push, so that when they see it, they know that Daddy lived an example for them and left a path that they can follow. I forged a way moving.
Legacy, greater sign, resume, man. It's about I'm done living for my resume. I don't care about that. It's about legacy. Somebody's gonna walk into my funeral and say, my life is better because he lived. If I did that, I'm good. Care. I like resume BS. That's why people in this country are so stressed out, chasing resume. Start living with, God bless his soul and everybody else that was on that helicopter, Kobe Bryant. That man left at 41. The legacy that he left. That's all you kept hearing people saying. His legacy of hard work and commitment and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't about his net worth. It wasn't about his last paycheck. Yeah.
They throwing all that in now, 5-time NBA champion, but his legacy, he poured into people. There were so many people crying. That was my hero. Yeah. There's a bunch of athletes who are just as talented as good. They don't say that about them, but he embodied that Mamba mentality, and I don't think for any second. And again, God rest all of their souls. That one, knowing how he was and who he is, he was at peace with what was about to happen, and two, there's zero doubt in my mind that he had his arms around his daughter, and it was right like that's legacy. His legacy will live forever, and it will have nothing to do with the basketball court. I'm sorry, people. He was a great basketball, but his legacy, man. So that's what it's about. Like, what are you living for? What are you fighting for? When you take all that resume stuff off, and you got to understand, the only reason he put those things on his resume because he knew what his legacy was going to be earlier. I am going to outwork every single one of you every day, twice on Sunday. And look what it brought him. 41, 51, 60. Death it's coming. Yeah.
We're all going to die.
Yeah. But there's no, and that's the whole thing. If people, and you hear it every time someone passes, we got to live in the moment, and we got to live right in. 2 weeks from now, nobody will be saying that. But if you take every single day, I got 86,000, was it 400 seconds in every day? I am going all in. When I lay my head down at night now, I am exhausted because I gave my 24 hours my all. And if in the event somebody comes to that hotel room and I'm exhausted, there will be a bunch of people that day. That guy, I was in the elevator with him, and the energy he got on with. That's important, man.
They felt that when you walked in and when you walked out.
What are you leaving in the world when you're gone? The iPhone, feel how you want to feel about Steve Jobs. iPhone is giving people the ability to bank themselves, to transact with people instantly. He didn't see the impact of it. He just knew that phone sucked. Yeah. And he had the passion to change it. But what he put into the world, feel how you want to feel about him. A lifetime. It's changed It's freed so many people and given people access to things that they should not have access to. That wasn't his intention, and that's the power of legacy, and more importantly, the power of giving.
Yeah.
Whatever your intention is, it's going to reverberate way past it. He had no idea what he was doing for people that every person, literally, poured up when they got a phone.
I will tell you though, I'm an Android guy.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I feel you, but you know what I mean.
I know
Android fan, but even that.
I get you.
Even that.
So, two things. What's your one do not do to advisors, and your one do to advisors?
Do not be conformed by this industry. Don't let the industry dictate to you what you put out, when you put it out, how you put it out, how you dress, what you talk about, where you go, when you go. Do not do that. Do not lose yourself, especially for all the young men of color that are coming into this business. Do not let the business, do not be conformed to the business. Make it wrap around you. And I think the other thing is, and I'm sure people that know me know what's coming, I think the other thing to do is be a thoughtful giver. Give, and when you can't give more.
And you're not just talking financially. Obviously,
Everything.
Give your heart, your mind, your body, your soul.
Give to your wife. I have a thing that I talk to my startup founders about, RFN. Every founder, and they'll tell you, all of the startup founders I work with, I start to call up, what was your RFN this week? Reps for nothing. How many things did you do that you felt like didn't count? So every time I love you, honey, I appreciate you, honey, I love you, honey, I love you, honey, and your wife is just tuning it out. But you're doing it, you're putting in your reps, you're rubbing her feet, you're making sure that you're sending her flowers, you're ironing her clothes, you're cooking for her, and you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Your kids see it, you see it, it makes you better, and then finally it clicks to her. This man loves me beyond vows, beyond words, it's in his action. Same thing, so it's your family, it's your kids. When you're with your kids, be with your kids. Take your cell phone and throw it as far away as you can. Be with them, right? I have my one-year-old great nephew. Whenever I'm on my phone and I'm constantly working, he come over into me and he smacks it out my hand. And that's a reminder, the focus is on me. Give to your family, give to your kids, and love yourself more. Disconnect to the point, stand in the mirror and I love me. All of me, the bad side of me, the conflicted side of me, the rich side of me, the poor side of me. I love me, because if I love me, I can love my wife better, I can love my kids better, I can do better for my clients, I can do better for my partners, right? But we have to give more of ourselves into the world, and then ultimately we start to create more little human beings that are better. But the thing is, we just don't give enough, you know? So, and then again, relationships heal, all these other things, but just be thoughtful givers. And if you give more, your practices will explode. You will have more than you can ever do. Like, I have more things to do, places to go, than I've ever had in my whole life. I have so much now, I need help. I appreciate the time, man. I'm grateful for you.
Bruh, absolutely.
And this is just the beginning.
Guys, if you don't grab at least one good thing out of that, then you are completely missing the point, right? This is Tyrone, and his passion is clearly exploding, not just through the camera, but right here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I see your message. I see what you're working on. I see what you're doing. Thank you so much for being a good inspiration and a big drive in the business.
It means a lot to me. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's it for now. Until the next episode of Advisors After Hours. Cheers.